Xbox Game Studios is in force, a game creation conglomerate finally set in motion for the Xbox Series console generation, with their biggest game debuting this year with Halo Infinite, with 343's biggest campaign and a free-to-play multiplayer suite across a massive Xbox platform. Games have been the call to action for the Xbox consoles, and it's the main waiting period for fans. Across the games industry, most games are seeing 6 to 12 month delays due to the global stay-at-home initiative. But industry game insiders are sure that even though Xbox has a mass of games coming, they aren't coming anytime soon. This is Colteastwood. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to talk about an interview that was on VGC's podcast with games industry biz Chris Dring, talking about how Xbox games are a few years away, and we're going to talk about what that technically means. If you end up enjoying this video and like it, let me know by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new weekly content. Set your player to 4K 60, and let's look at how Xbox has a lot coming sooner than some may think. Recently on VGC's podcast, games industry biz journalist Christopher Dring expressed concern that Xbox's biggest exclusives are a few years away. He said,
if you look at the games, like I've got an Xbox Series X, I love it, and I love a PlayStation 5, and I love it. I play on my PlayStation 5 because I've got a load of exclusive games I don't have on my Xbox. And when you look at Xbox have bought some amazing studios. Those games are coming, I had a few conversations with a few friends in Xbox Studios. Those games that they announced, Everwild, Perfect Dark, Fable, are so far away, right? As in, there might even be a new Xbox by the time those games come out, like a mid-tier upgrade rather than the tiny model. They are so far away. And when you look at, and no wonder I know we mentioned Hideo Kojima and stuff, no wonder Xbox is looking and investing and signing certain products at the minute, because they don't have a lineup of big exclusives at all. And
let's get on to that.
Xbox Game Studios is made up of 23 studios, with a few AAA teams that have been working on titles for Xbox since the wrap-up of the Xbox One console generation around 2018 and 2019. 3 of the titles referenced by Christopher Dring: Everwild by Rare, Perfect Dark by the newly formed Initiative Studio, and Playground Games RPG team working on a full reboot of Fable. Christopher Dring claims that his sources close to Xbox are hinting that these 3 big games are coming for mid-gen refresh, which puts an estimated delivery date of 2023 or 2024, depending on if the Xbox Series console generation lasts 6 to 8 years. First, let's address the concept of a mid-gen refresh for Xbox. Essentially, the only mid-gen refresh console in history has been the PS4 Pro and Xbox One X, with upgraded hardware to accompany the release consoles. This was an outlier, an exception, because these base consoles were insufficient in 2013 to meet the demands of gamers and developers alike, with bottlenecked hardware limiting game performance. Right now, the PS5 and Xbox Series consoles, even including the Xbox Series S, are future-proof, keeping in step with most powerful gaming PCs for expected performance. Plainly put, the hint that Xbox needs to upgrade the Xbox Series consoles is not justified. 3 to 4 years into an already young generation, so Christopher Dring inferring that a mid-gen refresh for Xbox is coming is not viable, believable, or justified. One thing we could expect in 3 to 4 years is for Xbox to shave $50 to $100 off the Xbox Series X by removing the disk drive and offering an all-digital Xbox Series X. But the Xbox Series S already meets that demand by offering affordable price options. So let's talk about Xbox Game Studios in a big picture situation. Let's step back and look at 23 studios and franchises being worked across the studio families, and taking in consideration 2 factors. Number 1, usual development time for each studio, and number 2, adding a 6 to 12 month delay variable for each studio affected by 2020 and 2021. It looks like the mean average of games released across nearly 30 exclusives for Xbox is a release date averaging around 2023, 2 years from now. 2 years is not typically considered a definition of the phrase few years, and it looks like Christopher Dring is being more pessimistic than logical in his assessment of the state of Xbox Game Studios releases. Looking at the 3 games specifically that he stated in the interview, Everwild is probably the furthest out, since Rare has typically taken several years to get a game like Sea of Thieves and Everwild ready for release. We don't know what kind of game Everwild is, and we have not seen a second of gameplay other than vignettes of what the game offers visually and the tone of the game in short interviews. Everwild is likely coming in late 2023 or 2024. Perfect Dark is a first-person shooter spy adventure game in the vein of Deus Ex, Splinter Cell, and James Bond 007. The Initiative, the studio behind the reboot of the franchise, has been working on the concept and the development of Perfect Dark since mid-2018. It's been about 3 years, and a great AAA game typically takes about 5 years. But in late 2019, Xbox's Phil Spencer had play-tested a segment of the playable build of the game, and also the Initiative has said that the game is meant to be episodic. A shorter 10 to 12 hour campaign may be readying for Xbox fans. This puts Perfect Dark at an estimated release date of 2023 or 2024 with COVID-related delays, just 3 years from now, but with a playable build ready, we could see it release as early as 2023. Fable has been a long time coming, and it has left the hands of Lionhead Studio, which was shut down a few years ago since they were not delivering the expectations set by the first 2 Fable games, which set a standard for Western fantasy RPGs on console. Playground Games is one of the most highly rated studios with consistent performance from Forza Horizon, and now has built a separate RPG studio working on Fable, started as early as 2017 or 2018 in concept. Since that time, the team has been working on a game engine and changed over to a Forza Tech-related engine integration to combine forces to create a next-level Fable game meant to be pushed into the 2020s. We have only seen this cinematic trailer with no gameplay, and if you look at the Xbox MO, they show gameplay a year before the release of the game, waiting till it is nearly ready. But looking at job listings and cryptic hints, we should expect to see Fable ready in 2 years for a release in 2023. This is why it's vitally important for Xbox to push third-party deals into Game Pass, where a large segment of their best customers are playing games. It is also critically important for Xbox to ready third-party exclusive deals like Stalker 2, Warhammer Darktide, and Crossfire X, expected in the next several months to release. Their first-party content from owned studios is actually closing the 2 to 3 year gap for Everwild, Perfect Dark, and Fable, with big games like Wolfenstein 3 from Bethesda, Starfield, Avowed from Obsidian Entertainment, Hellblade 2 from Ninja Theory, and Undead Labs' State of Decay 3 coming in the next year or more. Xbox is front-loaded with third-party timed exclusives and Halo Infinite for this year in 2021, but 2022 starts off with a ton of Xbox Game Studios games and more from Xbox Global Publishing, with games that are specifically made for the Xbox platform. As for a mid-gen set of consoles coming for your wallet in 2023, I know that the Xbox hardware team is already working on the next console, but I believe that an upgrade is not meant for mid-gen, but to wait 5 to 6 years to ready customers for the next Xbox generation experience on console. And well before any of that is ever announced, Xbox will have a mass of incredible games already established on the Xbox Series platform, with a wealth of studios we will watch grow over the years. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're okay with the new format where I'm on camera instead of just showing random gameplay at the end, but this is a segment where I usually give my personal opinion that's not usually in the main part of the video. Now, what I think is mostly Christopher is right about the games being a ways off, but he says a few years off and kind of makes it seem like they're never coming out or for a long time. But I also had an issue with him saying that a mid-gen refresh console was on the way in the next 2 to 3 years or 3 to 4 years. So yeah, I really do believe that if Xbox is going to put out a new console, they're probably putting out maybe a digital Series X, but even that seems implausible to me. I also think that Xbox is working on a console, like I said in the main part of the video, but it's probably the next generation console, and that could be 5 to 6 to even 8 years off, knowing how incredible this software and hardware is. I know he mainly focused on Fable, Everwild, and Perfect Dark, and I do agree with him that those games will be in 2023, possibly 2024. And you have to keep in mind that a lot of these games are at least seeing a delay of 6 months, sometimes a full year, as these studios are working from home. But I want to know what you think and what you're most excited for, because a lot of big games are coming in 2022. Let me know in the comment section. If you did enjoy this video, show your support by liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit the bell to be notified of new content. You can also further support the channel by joining the channel membership below. There's a link in the description, or you can join the Patreon. I recently revamped that with new tiers for people to support the channel, and it's been so amazing seeing people that I've commented and talked to and messaged that have been so supportive of what I'm doing. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know. The comment section is going to be a little crazy because people don't like to see games delayed, but I think it's for the better. So let me know what you think, and please remember, as always, be nice.